Hello and welcome to the East Lampeter Township Public Meeting. All participants are now informed that this meeting is being recorded. This meeting is also being offered virtually utilizing Zoom, which is a cloud-based platform for remote video and audio conferencing. The Zoom application is free to the public. The general public is therefore able to join the meeting by connection through the internet or by calling in by phone. The public is also able to observe the meeting on the Township's YouTube channel. Please continue to check the Township website calendar for any updates related to these public meetings. Agendas for these public meetings will also be available on the Township's website. Please be reminded that this meeting is being video and audio recorded and will be posted to the Township's YouTube channel for viewing. The meeting will now proceed with the chairman calling the meeting to order and identifying all other members present in the meeting room and those joining the meeting via Zoom. The chairman will then confirm those members joining by Zoom can be heard.
Good evening and welcome to the Monday, September 15th meeting of the Board of Supervisors of East Lampeter Township. I'm showing no one on Zoom, so we've got Mr. Thornton, Mr. Gallagher, Mr. Meyer. Mr. Rudd is absent this evening. If you rise and join, please pledge to our flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. We got information in the back in the sign-in sheet. We have a pretty full meeting tonight, so we're going to kick it off with some public comment for any non-agenda item. If you have comment on anything on the agenda, we'll have plenty of time for that. We'll also have time at the end if you thought of something during the meeting and want to add it. And now is your chance if you want to address the board with any public comment. Yes, sir.
President of the School Members Association. We're here tonight because our bylaws, Article 10, refers that we need to get approval from the township for any amendment we need to do. And we do have amendments we want to pass, but we haven't heard from the township. A lawyer actually reached out to the township last month. We're just here tonight to see who we can work with to get those amendments approved.
I did speak with your attorney last week, and I asked him if he could give me till this week to bind any prior amendments to the bylaws. So we did start going through the board minutes, and it looks like there was a prior amendment of the bylaws by the Board of Supervisors. I believe it was in 2016. So we were looking to pull those bylaws from the recorder's office so that we could follow as to why the board was included in those types of actions. So I did speak with your attorney. We are working on it.
That answer your question? Okay, awesome. Thank you. Any additional public comment? Yes, sir. State your name for the record.
I'm a resident of Millcross Estates, and I get up one morning after they repaved the streets to find out there's a double yellow line throughout the development streets. And I was wondering what the reasoning for that was, because everyone in the development, for the most part, is very upset. The other thing is they put two depressed curbs at Millcross Road and Little Creek, one there and one at Millcross Road and Grayland Drive. I don't know for what reason. We don't have curbs, we don't have sidewalks. And why go to the expense to put something that's never going to be used? And they have those skid proof pad there. And I was wondering what the reason was for that. I'd like to suggest that the double yellow lines be painted over with black paint and removed, because it's horrible to look at.
Yeah.
I don't know of any developments that I've ever been in that have had double yellow lines in them. I see no reason for it, and I'm upset, as well as the rest of the residents there. And pretty much it.
Well, thank you. Anyone else here from that neighborhood? wouldn't mind maybe just do a quick, or I agree with that guy, or I disagree, just to give us your thoughts on it without everyone having to repeat themselves, but we'd love to get your feedback on the double yellow lines in Mill Cross.
Very distracting to the neighborhood.
Horrible. Horrible. You also have invited now people thinking that it's a thoroughway. I was standing in my driveway talking to my neighbor, and two people came in at least 45 miles an hour thinking that it's a dead end street, no matter where you go. So you put in double yellow lines for what purpose? I'm with him, paint them over with black paint. The sooner the better.
Yes, sir.
I too would like to know what the rationale was, what problem was that solving? If it was, as I heard and rumored, that it was because the snowplow operator was peeling off the front of our lines. Okay, there are other ways of solving that problem that I thought would be less expensive. I've lived in that house for 46 years. I've never had those marker pegs in the front of my, but that seemed to be a less expensive way of solving the problem than to put lines down at some great expense. Secondly, if the guy is that incompetent that's running the plow, find somebody that can do it without screwing up the lawns.
Any other comments? Question for staff would be, how many roads in that development were painted? Is it? I have a map open, but the
As far
Little,
as I know, all of them.
Little Creek Road, east side,
And on both sides, Brook Farm,
Grayland.
Sorry.
Brook Farm side as well, or no? Just
No, it's not done this, that was not repaved.
I just don't have yellow lines.
No.
We do, not Brook Farms.
This development was repaved.
was that part of the repaving bid, or was that something that the township did?
It's not part of the repaving bid, it was part of the line segments that were done as a typical line segment in the township.
Who paid these people their overtime? Because it was like 5:30, 6 o'clock at night that they did this. So there had to be overtime involved.
I can't tell you that there was overtime involved.
So in other words, was it our staff who did the line painting, or was that something that was part of the bid? Yeah, so it was part of what we bid out for someone to do.
They painted lines in our development before they even did Pitney Road. I mean, that's ridiculous. I thought maybe they might have made a mistake. They're supposed to paint the line on Pitney Road, which is a major road. And they come in our development and paint double yellow line for me. So it makes sense.
So what options do
So the roadways that were chosen were done because typically the Public Works has been putting double yellow lines in all of the developments that we repave as a traffic calming measure.
slow traffic down?
Not working. Sure you'll,
Now, I think did this shift after we updated, like Plymouth over in the Bridgeport area?
Yes, so it was Clayton, Plymouth, Susan, all of those as well.
So if the board remembers that discussion, we had some disagreement at the time among the board and staff of whether double yellow lines were a traffic calming measure, or if white lines on the outside were a traffic calming measure. At the time, my position was and remains that double yellow lines are not a traffic calming measure. I've not seen any research or data that indicates that they calm traffic.
we can verify that.
Yeah, white lines on the outside can be beneficial in slowing traffic because it's unknown where the middle is and people have to slow down a little bit. That at the time was my suggestion of we do that. But the decision at the time was made to, hey, all new painting is done with all the lines all the time.
You guys. Yellow
I lived in development. My house was built 24 years ago, so we have not been repaved. And honestly, I would not want yellow lines on my road. I live on Windrow Drive, 1826 Windrow Drive. I wouldn't want yellow lines either, so I hear you.
We don't have them.
Yeah, but your neighborhood's somewhat newer,
Newer, yeah.
10, 12 years.
I don't live in a neighborhood. I've got my live on Milton Road. It's already on the way.
You know, it's true as well.
So, if the board were to change that policy from what it said previously, what would the process be to do that?
The board would need to, we would write that policy as staff and provide it to the board to adopt.
I think, I'm inclined to direct staff to do that, and then with that, we were looking at a cost of covering up the belly yellow in this neighborhood.
We can look at that cost. We have not looked at that.
Yes, then worth looking at.
What about the two handicap pads that were put in?
My understanding of those is staff could answer it as well, but anytime an intersection is redone, the Americans with Disabilities Act requires those be built to the ADA code. That's a federal law, regardless of whether there's existing sidewalks or not.
Seems ridiculous.
In order to use fuel funding,
Unfortunately, that's the way policies go. It's just,
that's a big
that's what we have to do.
You change the policy.
Call your state representative or your congressman. It's out of our control there.
So the public money gotta follow their.
So to use gas tax money to build roads, which is what it's for, we have to follow the state rules.
You want for people, say the government's inefficient.
Wonders. But that's been the case since the 90s, is my understanding, so it's been a while. All right, any other public comment? Appreciate you showing up, sharing your concerns, and hopefully we can shift the policy and see what the cost is to fix it. Then we'll discuss it at that point.
So you paid for the double yellow lines out of our taxpayer money,
Yes,
correct?
correct.
So you're gonna use our taxpayer money again and get rid of it, please.
Yeah, depending on the cost, and that's gonna be the question we'd have to look at. Because then they need to go to a budget.
Year. Is it in the budget for this year, or are you gonna budget it for next year?
Well, we're looking at the budget for next year now.
There was no concern about the cost putting them in, but there's concern about the cost eliminating them.
There's concern previously about putting them in, but not everyone was here to weigh in on it at that time.
Who decided to put the double yellow in?
The board at the time set that policy, so staff drafted it, and the board changed that policy. I disagreed at the time, so I'm just one of this. I don't like the lines of pedals.
Any new development street that gets repaved is gonna get double yellow.
Well, you're changing your policy. So the double yellow in neighborhoods that are township roads, we set the policy on.
You do.
Yes, this is.
By a neighborhood.
Correct.
So then why didn't Brook Farms get it? I know they didn't get repaid.
Repaid. So if they were to get anything that would get repaid right now as part of that, the current policy is gonna get all the paint.
Blanket everything with double yellow and don't think about what you're doing. That's pretty dumb. I don't think you should have blanket policies.
I mean, I can see a main artery, a main public road, and for safety purposes. There might be developments that have long roads in them that people can build up speed. Our development, other developments are short streets. And safety is not as, I shouldn't, it's not important, but it just isn't an issue, I think, as it was on a public road where you're going 35, 40, and people speed to 50 mile an hour. People don't go that fast in our development.
Well,
They might go 35, 30, but
So we're gonna look at the policy, hopefully at our next meeting or shortly thereafter and see what we can do to adjust that and look at some pricing. So stay tuned, keep an eye on our agendas. We post them on our website. And
how
then
many months do we have to stay tuned?
see, but hopefully it won't be that long. Yeah, just check the website. I think the board heard you. I think we're good unless there's any other further public comment.
Your double yellow, you have really created a problem in the neighborhood because we get so much more traffic now with people thinking they can just drive through and they're speeding. There are little children that play in the street, so you're endangering quite a few children.
they assume it's a main public road. Those are development street.
Yeah.
And I live in the area.
Can I ask what would be an example of that so I could see it for myself?
And they-
Like where would you give me a street there in that neighborhood I'm looking right
Little
now?
Creek.
Little Creek and then
Yeah.
like it appears that the line is now the traffic's going faster.
That this street now is going somewhere else. It's a dead end.
It's a dead end, yeah. East Side Drive is like the last right you could take on that if you came in on Millcross, right?
And you came out onto Little Creek and
Right.
then to the farmer's field.
Right.
And all of a sudden, these people, they're so stupid that they slam on their brakes like there's nowhere to go. Then they don't even know how to turn around.
Yeah.
You know what farmers build too.
Yeah.
There's neighbor children that play out on the street a lot. Yeah. Let's say I'm crazy about that, but they do. And increased speed, I just fear, like the other night, they were out in the street till dusk, and at dusk you could hardly see them. And they had gray t-shirts on, blended right in with the road. And coming off Millcross on the Grayling, you're going up a hill. So they come up over that crest, that's where the kids were playing. And with that double yellow, it doesn't, help the situation there. Not that the kids should be playing there in the first place, but I'm not their parents.
All right, any other further public comment? I think staff's got some direction. We will move right on. We've got a very large consent agenda. We did update the format of our consent agenda, so all the information that's pertinent to it, approval of minutes, financial security releases. So you can read through that. I'm not going to read through all items A through O with all those numbers as we've done in the past. They are here on our record. So I will entertain a motion to adopt the entire consent agenda as presented. I'll make a motion for the consent agenda. Second. So we have a motion by Mr. Meyer, a second by Mr. Gallagher. Is there any public comment on any of the items on the consent agenda? Any board comment? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed or abstention, motion passes. Now moving into our Lancaster Library presentation with John Heinley. Got a couple presentations tonight, so we definitely want to hear you, but don't keep it snappy. We've read through your packet, but hit the highlights and bring questions.
I have some hard copies there for anybody on the board or if you like to have copies.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us this evening, and for the faithful partnership that East Lampeter Township provides Lancaster Public Library. I'm John Heinley, I'm the Director of Donor Advising. With me is Lisa Holland, our Executive Director. When we get into any questions, she might be better to answer them, but I'll do the presentation. So Lancaster Public Library, our mission is to inspire, empower, and strengthen our community by connecting people with information, ideas, and enriching experiences. And our vision by providing equitable access and vital educational resources, exceptional programming, and community building opportunities. The Lancaster Public Library is recognized as a dynamic center of knowledge and a cornerstone of thriving Lancaster community. A few stats on how in our last complete year, 2024, East Lampeter residents utilized the library services. 21% of residents are card holders. Over 10,000 materials were borrowed over the course of the year, which amounts to just about $300,000 worth of free materials that are accessed by the community. And that is just the materials that are lent out. It doesn't count things like the programs that people attend, summer reading program, public computers, all sorts of things that are provided to the community. And a few just stats on community engagement in general. This is not specifically East Lampeter. Over 236,000 patrons visited the library, and over 500,000 materials were circulated to residents within the community, and over 80,000 patron computer and wireless sessions were used. That the computer access is a very, very important part of what the library provides to the community. As anybody here who pays for home internet knows, that is a pricey thing. So not everyone can afford that, and that is a vital service. A few things beyond books. Of course, we all know that libraries have books. Some of the other things that we have at Lancaster Public Library, the Business and Reference Center is a really exceptional resource for the business nonprofit sends all of their clients to our Business and Reference Center. It includes databases, things that can be used for market research. For example, nonprofits can access Foundation Directory where they can research grants, resources that most businesses or nonprofits wouldn't be able to afford on their own can be accessed there. So in part, we just want to make the community aware, and all of you as community leaders, as you interact with residents, letting them know that that is a resource for them. Likewise, our Autism Resource Center is for individuals and families on autism spectrum or other sensory disorders. It's a really unique resource. Both of these are unique throughout Lancaster County. At the downtown branch, we have really special resources for that part of our community. Lots of other things, programming for all ages. We do have different meeting rooms, workrooms that can be rented out. And for nonprofits, we have a small meeting room that can be used for free to meet with clients. So likewise, want that to be something that you all know about and can suggest to people. Our e-resources like Libby and Hoopla for audiobooks, ebooks, streaming, things like that. A lot of our community utilizes, and I also want to highlight this Float for Kids is a resource that we added this year. Again, I know that Lancaster has a lot of diversity within it, and people from different language groups. This is a way that we worked at addressing the needs of our community in terms of language. So families with English as a second language, this is a resource that has ebooks and audiobooks for children that can be played in dozens of languages, either fully in that language or alternating between English and Spanish, for example. A really wonderful way for families to learn English, both children and their parents. Our last complete year really was a wonderful year in terms of programming. We had an 18% increase in program attendance. We had many new programs. A few of them were Read It and Eat It Cookbook Club, a very popular one. Literally, they read a cookbook and then make things from it. ASL Storytime, our first fully sign language storytime, and likewise, first fully Spanish storytime we offered, and Future Architects Club. Some of our popular programs include Baby Storytime. We have a Builders Lab. We have a teen gaming program that's very popular. And our summer reading program, we just finished. Over 4,000 patrons were served during that time, and over 200 programs offered to the community, over 1,000 reading challenges completed, which is really cool, thinking about how that helps children to retain what they've learned and keep learning over the summer. Our projected budget for next year, 64% of the budget comes from library-generated resources. And that includes things like late fees, photocopies, we have passport processing, but around 50% is fundraised, either by our friends, which is a volunteer group, or by fundraising from the community. And that includes individuals, foundations, businesses, all sorts of partners. And then 36% comes from government sources, including municipalities like East Lampeter, and we're very grateful for all of those in the community who support us, including East Lampeter. Next year is our last year. We're receiving ARPA funding, the American Rescue Plan funding. So that looking at how we can improve our sustainability as that funding ends, which a lot of municipalities have experienced those sorts of things as well. The national average for funding per capita from local municipalities is much higher throughout the rest of the country. Pennsylvania is different in how it's funded. So the Pennsylvania recommendation is $5 per capita of funding from municipalities to the local library. We are average across the 14 municipalities that we are responsible for serving at $1 per capita. So it's something that we continue to encourage our municipal partners to consider increasing that as much as possible to make sure that library funding and the services that come through the library continue to be available to the community, and we don't need to cut any of the services that we do provide. Our staff are really wonderful in how they steward the resources that are given, whether that is from municipalities, from individual donors, foundations. We have the 8th largest service area. So we're doing a lot with the funding that we do receive, and 18th largest catalog of materials. And that's out of 450 libraries in Pennsylvania. So a lot of incredible work is being done in the programming and the resources that are provided. We do really want to thank East Lampeter for many, many years of faithful partnership and generous support of Lancaster Public Library. This year you have budgeted just about $7,500 of resources coming to the library. Thank you very much for that. We also wanted to add this year these 2 additional stats to give a sense of what other support is coming from the community. So active donors, considering that people who have given within the last 5 years, we have over 100 members of the East Lampeter community who are active donors of the library, as well as 11 businesses or other community organizations within the township. So thank you very much for all that support from the community as well. We have a lot of exciting things that are happening, and we wanted to highlight some of what is happening, but also some of what we hope to do. As we do work on building sustainable funding, there's a lot of things that we're excited about and potential that we have looking into the future. This year in 2025, through ARPA funding, we were able to acquire an outreach van that you see pictured there. And we are paying the first 2 years of the salary of an outreach specialist. So that's one person who is dedicated to full-time reach into the community. And one example, East Lampeter was August 29th, in partnership with the Parks and Rec Department in Flory Park. There was a summer constellation night activity that our outreach specialists went to and had telescopes for that. So we're really excited to be able to do much more of this sort of thing in the community. And as we can build what our outreach specialist is able to do, already has partnered with 42 community organizations and impacted over 5,000 community members that have accessed resources. And we especially want to get into parts of the community that have trouble getting to the library, one reason or another, where services that are available there. Some of the things that we're dreaming of doing as we can build our funding, we do want to expand those community partnerships, be able to get out and do more things out in the community and not just limited to at the library itself. We do want to add more programs because of the response that we received at ASL and Spanish story times. We want to grow things like that in other languages that are represented in our community. We would love to extend our evening hours to make the resources more accessible to people who are working during the day. Potentially hiring a staff social worker who would be able to serve patrons in many of the ways that people come in needing services. And we'd like to increase the presence of our staff out on the floor, just going up to patrons and offering to help them whatever they might need. So my contact information is there, QR code that takes you to our website where you can find far more information, and also our calendar of events. And I welcome any questions that I'd be happy to answer or perhaps listen.
Thank you. Any questions from the board?
I had one summer reading 4,000 patron service there, breakdown by age. Maybe that was done through the type of book, the age group. Not sure if you have that.
It is, I did not bring it, I don't know,
Okay.
it was given to me by our manager of Children's and Teen Services.
Yeah.
This does include our babies to 5-year-olds, 5 to 11, 11 to 18, and adults. The biggest group are our school age, elementary school age children. I can get that information to you if you would like.
That's great. I mean, that's impressive at 4,000 patrons, and would you think they were mostly from school district of Lancaster, or are they pretty wide?
Across the board.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
It's okay. I'd just like to say that Matthew Bichon has been a key element of our recreation in East Lansing. He provided weekly book bundles to our summer playground students. We had 40 students in the summer playground, and we took whatever the theme was for that week and provided those book bundles to the kids. He also made sure that the bookmobile was there on a regular basis so that they could lend out books. As you indicated, he worked with Lisa, our recreation director, on the night sky event and provided all of the telescopes that were needed for that. He also took one morning for the summer playground and taught all of the kids about STEM and how it works, and conducted a craft that used STEM elements. So that was fantastic. He's tried really hard to get a book nook here for preschoolers and their parents. It hasn't taken off yet, but he's tried multiple times to have it available. So he's been a great resource for East Lampeder Township.
Thank you very much. That's very nice to hear. He has been on staff for quite a while. And when we were interviewing for that position, I was really pleased that we were able to hire from within and promote him. And this really got started. We got the van in January when his position started, but he didn't really start getting out into the neighborhoods until March or so. So it sounds like he's done a whole lot in a rather short period of time. And it's a program that I am it's very near and dear to my heart. It was something I've always wanted to see at Lancaster Public Library. And I think we are the only library within the area that has an on-the-go van and provides. Because I do think a lot of people are intimidated or aren't able to get to the library. So it's important to bring the library to them. So thank you for those comments. I will take them back.
He's very humble. That's far more than I've not heard that much from him, so it's really exciting to hear. Thanks.
And that's been we've been hearing from Lisa Cleveland and staff as well, that partnership has been going well. We've just recently launched our sort of recreation programs and building that out. And I would love to see that partnership continue.
And
Just-
people were very afraid that we were going to just center it in the city. And it's something that we want for all of our municipalities to take a part of. So I thank you for the initiative of joining along with us.
And that's because since the other, what was the old branch closed, that was sort of a nearer library. So I love the idea of getting some of those services out into our area where we've never had a library here. I would still love one at some point, but that's for down the road. One of the things that I'll put out a suggestion, we're in our budget season. So our normal policy is we get the circulation numbers from the county system, which is different than all of the local public libraries. It's a very complicated system. And then we look at the circulation and we basically say, here's our top 4 libraries where our residents go and get books, and we allocate we prorate the amount. So overall in our budget, we designate about $2.50 per resident towards library services. We divide it up based off of where people are going to access the library.
my family, we're all over the place. We're in Ephrata one day, Manor Township, we're a heavy library, the users. But since you've done more of this stuff, it'd be worth considering maybe saying, all right, let's allocate maybe 25% towards our primary library and then the remaining amount with our current formula based off of where people are using. So that's just one suggestion that we could discuss now or later, or as we go through the budget process.
Yeah, anything you're thinking, those efforts that Tara and you described, John described, are not actually in these numbers, right? They're not calculating those numbers. These are above and beyond.
Because the numbers that I gave you are from 2024. When they.
Pure circulation. Circulation. Yeah, I'd be for that. I'd be for a revised calculation. I think you guys have asked for revised calculation being our home library over the years.
The designation, if you could fill us in just to make it more clear, but I forget who set that original map up. I don't know if that was a state or the original.
It was the system a long while ago, yeah, and they had looked at changing it, and we would like to see it changed too, because it's complicated, especially for municipalities like yours, where your residents go to different libraries, so it's hard for us to stand up here and say, well, all your money should go to us because you're in our service area. That's how the state feels. So that's the party line, but we understand too that that's behind closed doors. Your residents don't understand that. We're all different, 14 individual libraries. That's a difficult concept to grasp, but unusual one.
And it also sets sort of who's allowed to fundraise on whose turf.
Yeah.
So that's why you guys can come to our meeting, even though we give money to Strasburg, Heiser, and Manheim Township, and of course they don't come to the meeting because they're not allowed to fundraise here. But you're allowed to fundraise from our businesses in the community. And it's just one of those too complicated on the back end, but it is I appreciate you guys doing extra effort to come out and service our residents. And I think that we should look at our formula as a way to sort of reward that and build that partnership and keep it going.
I agree with that. Great to hear the report. I didn't know how closely we were working with you on our recreational program, which we're really trying to get off the ground. So, great, yeah. So you have another slide we put in.
All right. Any other questions?
How the repairs coming? I noticed there wasn't a slide.
Yeah,
We don't want pictures.
circulation numbers are 2025 statistic will really suffer as a result of us having had, or probably it'll end up being most of this year, a significant part of our collection will not be available, which is really frustrating. So we're working through a process.
Still a challenge, yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Seeing it, we're a tenant in the space, and that
Yeah.
puts multiple parties in limits in a complicated way.
But we are pushing forward, we're forever changing it to make it more accessible. And you saw our programs increased this summer, even with the lived-in flood look of our first floor.
We look forward to having a grand reopening.
Yeah.
Once we have it fixed up.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks so much for your partnership.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right. Moving on to our next presentation, we've got Bob May from Lemson.
Nice seeing the team.
Which slides we have here? Was that one? So I think this is some quick, I think you have a new. No. Okay. Okay, so just some quick history. Community Hospital St. Joe's, founded in Lancaster, Mass. in 1996, and there's 8 annual services that have joined us since then. We do serve 21 municipalities. We're the largest nonprofit in the county. We basically have about 50% of all 911 calls. And we do serve the residents, just under 300,000, 12 locations.
216 employees, we now have 64 vehicles and an annual budget of $1 million. In the county and only 1 in 5 in the state. Our service lines consist of 911, which is about 50% of our line. Environmental emergencies, which is moving patients between hospitals, thousands of those a year. We have community paramedicine, which is on the prevention side. And we have a lot of educational services, and we do run a mobile hygiene unit or otherwise a shower trailer. The shower trailer we have given, we've had since December 2020, 237 deployments and 3,800 showers and other privileges along with that deployment, including hygiene product, referrals, clothing items, laundry vouchers, haircuts, and medical surgery. So out of all the municipalities that we serve, East Lyme Peter is the 5th in regards to volume. And then the next one, you can see the volume growth over the year. 5 a day, 911. The top 5 medical are out there, then top 3 trauma for 2024. That's one. So we are dealing just like every other one. Challenges. Reimbursement continues to be a challenge. We have workforce shortage is a challenge. The national rate of 1.5%. I am pleased to say 6 months we have all the headwind and we are down to 8%. In fact, on the EMT side, we will be at full staff and we're only down 4 paramedics. So a lot has gone into that, and we contribute that to our culture. We contribute that to enhancements with our employees. Physical safety, always a concern. We've had a number of incidences the last 5 years in particular that were career-ending, stabbing, two near misses with a shooting. When I say near, within 6 inches of 2 of our providers that almost got shot. One was in the back of an ambulance. Mental health, always a concern as well, and we're doing a lot of resources to address those. That is nationwide and it's long overdue. Just to wrap up, I want to thank East Lyme Peter for all of your support. But supervisors and township manager, your officers are phenomenal. We ask for help, they're there. Sometimes they're showing up, these are local, not asking, and that's not something we often see in other municipalities. So that is wonderful. And yeah, I wanted to keep this brief.
Thank you.
Well, questions for Bob?
Thank you.
Thank you for your service.
Well, thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, next up we have what you've all been waiting for, the pension plan investment presentation from Morgan Stanley.
Gentlemen. All right, so member from Morgan Stanley, started here on P4. We're up 8.5% year to date. We finished last year up 9 and 23. We had a 13.7. So we've, pretty close to double digits. 6 of the last 7 years. Our expectations is we'll finish this year. So things have been great. You can see top left, blue line is what you have. This is just the police side of the pension at 38 million, and net contributions are 11.4. And you can see performance since inception right below that. Started with 9. You've given us 2.4 between township contributions, payroll, and the state. We've made 26.6 million, and that gets us to 38, which averages, just short of 8% a year. Bottom, go to the next page, next page here. It'll show in the bottom left the risk return analysis. Here, the little blue dot, and gives the return of 8.14. Since inception, these are the difference between those numbers are dollar weighted and time weighted. It's a little. You drew a line between the orange square and the square in the middle, which is the MSCI All World, which is like the S&P 500 or the Dow Jones, but for the world. We're maybe a hair above that, which is we get a little bit more bang for our buck in terms of risk and return, and just throw the 30-year treasury on there as a analysis of what we definitely did not much of over the past 15 years. You see 1% equities, 25% bonds, 10% alternatives, and we've never broken that 15% ceiling that you guys have given us. 2.1% cash. And if we go to the next page, we can get a kind of a little bit more in depth. Year to date, 12 months, last 3 years. Last 3 years, we're at 29 and change. We've actually net pulled out about 800K over that time period. We've had a couple of retirements and some drops. Made 9.5 million and gets us to 38, which works out to about 10% a year over the last 3 years. So pretty pleased with that. And I know you guys have a full agenda. I'll go to page 10, which is just a look at where the asset allocation has moved since 2017. And what you'll notice is not much of a change, at a core, the IPS, we want to hold about 60% equities, and we've held pretty tight between that. There's been maybe 2 or 3 time periods where we've made a move from, equities to stocks, so we more or less control that just with flows, right? When money is needed or when money is available coming from the state, we kind of use our allocation. And as of the time being, our goal is to keep between 60 and 65 right now. And if we were to have a big run and get much above 65, we'd probably do some trimming at that point. So I will jump to, I'm going to take a quick look at the alternatives, and that's what brought me in here on an annual basis, and I posted it. Let's go to page.
So because we have alternatives, you have to come here every year.
Well, I don't know. I'm happy to come here.
You're doing a great job.
Let's go to page 19 just to get this is the alternatives account. That's for some new alternatives, anything that doesn't stick in cash pocket. So could be hedge funds, could be gold, could be private equity, private real estate, all sorts of fun stuff. And what you'll notice there, dark blue is what you put to work. Light blue is the profits there. And you'll notice there isn't a whole lot of years where it's going the wrong direction. And that's the whole concept of we were making 1.5%, 2% in our fixed. We had a mandate of, hey, we got to make 7% a year, and trying to get there with 40% of your portfolio basically guaranteed to not make it. We said, why don't we carve out a bit more money without adding a ton of risk? And if you go to page 21, you'll see, last 12 months have been great. Last 5 years have been pretty good since inception. Not exactly one bonds since we've done it. So, and if you want to see all of the intricacies, our long black sheep Skybridge is on that next page, but actually is up 40% in the last 12 months. So that thing always requires one of you guys to sign something every 6 months, because we would like all of our money back, but we're in what we call gating, and but they are crushing it over the past 12, 24 months. So we'll take it. Couple charts here on the market, and I can go through any of the other slides, but stock bond correlations, that's the what we saw in 22 was like kind of the 100-year flood. Rarely do we see stocks and bonds down on an annual basis, but when we have inflation, which obviously was going on in 22, those things can move together, which makes having diversified portfolios less exciting, because normally only people care that they move together when we're going down. Page after that, dry powder, on both the alternative side and on the classic side, there's a lot of money out there, which we think puts a floor underneath valuations. You know, things have been going straight up since the middle of April. I'm very glad I didn't have to come here in the middle of April, so thanks for keeping it September. Normally September's when we're having the tougher markets. But there's a lot of money out there still looking for things to buy. So while, you know, wouldn't jump in with 2 feet with dry cash, you know, right now, there is, I think, a little bit of safety in having all this dry powder on the sidelines, because when we do get pullbacks, they tend to be quick and relatively shallow. I mean, you look at April, we were down 20% peak to trough by the middle of April. April, when you go look at markets on a monthly basis, April was down 0.5%. And it did not feel like that when we were in the eye of that storm, but it'll, like, historically, people won't even notice the tariff tantrum, you know, going back. We got a couple things in here on unemployment, underemployment. We're starting to see, you know, wages are contained, which from a, you know, inflationary standpoint is helpful, but you're starting to see unemployment creep up a little bit, which is why politically, you're seeing calls from the White House for lower rates. That has a myriad of impacts for us. But if you look at the other charts, I mean, there's nothing out here, you know, screaming recession or screaming bull market, but there are a little bit of kind of some signs of like, you know, maybe we got a little bit of softness coming in economic, but then you look at CapEx is exceeding, you know, you go look at what happened with the Donnelly building, right? That's happening all over the country in other communities. People are buying up buildings to build the data infrastructure. And something I heard at a conference from one of a very trusted company that actually builds these things. For every $1 million they spend in CapEx to build one of these, you know, things like basically what's going on at Donnelly, they're getting $100,000 in rent per month. So that's why they can't build these things fast enough, because if you could get your money back in less than a year and then just start making gravy after that, it is extremely lucrative. So that's another thing that I guess, you know, points the other direction. New bull market thesis, September cuts are highly likely. And we're starting to see a surge in productivity. Profits are beating expectations, earnings per share by 10%. So there's some good, some bad. And I'll leave you with what we got on page 30 here, which is US is really expensive compared to the rest of the world. Not necessarily making a call that it shouldn't be more expensive, because we do have the most innovation and the most productivity and, you know, the most entrepreneurial spirit and the best capital market. So there is a premium that should be paid to be able to invest in the United States. But when you can start buying, you know, earnings at, you know, a 20% discount in the rest of the world, you got to think about it. So we stay globally diversified. And my guess is probably over the next 5 to 10 years, you're going to see more years where the US isn't number one than they are number one in terms of an annual return. So trying to keep it brief. Did I miss anything? Any questions? I don't know. Big cash management.
I saw one slide.
Use cash, like each of the managers will hold cash. We hold a little bit of cash in the vault because we have some private equities that will ask us for cash that we've subscribed to. So there's 2% of the like investment portfolio is holding cash, like design. We keep it as tight as we possibly can. Jarman,
Now, this gap in the PE ratio is pretty concerning. It's like, so, but data's great. Thanks for the. For
So we are looking at adjusting our assumed rate of return on our pension. Would that adjust then sort of the mix of the investment strategy?
I mean, if we're going from 6.5 to 6 or 7 to 6.5, probably not a ton, in the grand scheme of things, in a finance textbook. Leave all to the side, 60-40 portfolio is the best bang for your buck in terms of risk and return. You can make more money than that portfolio, but you're gonna take on risk faster than you get paid the return. Vice versa, you can take less risk than that portfolio, but you're gonna get a return faster than you get rid of the risk. So we tend to, for institutional portfolios, say that unless there's a reason that we really need to dial back risk or really need to increase return, like we keep that at the core within, call it 5 or 10% of a 60-40, and adding 10 or 20% alternatives to that portfolio just shifts the whole thing up and to the left in terms of reducing risk and increasing return. So short answer, no, wouldn't recommend making a change. And if we continue to, it just gives us an easier hurdle, and anything extra you get, higher marks from the actuary, and all of a sudden you're 105 or 110% funds, and things are good.
It's very worse. We're dropping it down to like 6.5, I think. 6.75. Get there. Trying to get that number.
Yeah, it's nice to have a lower hurdle rate, and there are. I looked at a study, it's probably 2 or 3 years old at this point, but it's amazing the amount of states that were still 7+. It's just like where, at least now, you've got some yield in your bonds, but assumed rate of returns, there's very, very little from a capital market expectations, and nobody does these for a 1-year target, but there's very few asset classes where we're expecting, more than 8% out of anything. So, now we're historically, a little conservative on that, but I think that's the prudent thing to do, to notch that down when you can without putting yourself in the penalty box.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, all the presentations. No old business. We've got some new business. It's like item A. Stormwater management plan for Fisher, 785 Hartman State. Right.
It's Chris Wiley. I'm here with WLA. It's here this evening representing Ben and Rachel Fisher. Here this evening to see the board to ask for a motion of approval for 4 waiver requests, and so asking for a conditional use. So I'll give you guys a brief overview, tell you a little bit about the project. The existing site is a single parcel with 1.83 acres in size. It is located within the township's agricultural zoning district. The subject property entered into an agricultural conservation easement back in the year 2000. So it is one of Lancaster County's preserved ag pieces. The existing site is currently undeveloped and is used right now for growing crops and pasture. Now, the purpose of the project this evening, or for Ben and Rachel, is they would like to construct a new single-family residential dwelling in the form of a condominium, which is a style of home that combines both the garage, of course, barn. The Officials are also proposing an accessory structure behind the dwelling unit that will be used for agricultural purposes. We recently revised the 2000 conservation easement. We worked with Lancaster Farmland Trust. I have a letter of approval that came today, and the signed revised agreement is supposed to be recorded this Friday. But we revised the agreement. The original agreement had building impervious separated from other impervious on the site, and it was lopsided in terms of what the percentages should be. So it was more common these days in the conservation easements that all of that impervious is combined into one pool. So we worked with Lancaster Farmland Trust and with all the members that are one that make up the conservation, and we had that replaced. The site improvements are pretty limited. We have the construction of a new home, including on-lot seepage bed sewer system, as well as the water well. There's a gravel driveway, as well as a gravel parking court, and then we have a fire retention. So there are no improvements for dedication as part of the plan. Access to the site, as I mentioned, the gravel driveway, the access to the site will be in this location here, a new driveway located directly across from Ben Fisher's father's driveway and property. This is Stephen Fisher's property here. Will be no impacts traffic-wise to Hartman Station Road. As far as the stormwater goes, the site is going to manage both the rate and the volume using the bioretention surface facility that we designed in the back here. This is a really shallow, basically rain garden that we designed. The project is under 1 meter of disturbance, therefore there's no EDS permit running through the conservation district. The site received its component 2 planning module from DEP back in June of 2012. As part of this plan, we are proposing primary seepage disposal area in this location and a secondary facility in this location. There's a tanking compartment, all the other pieces standard. Had that design reviewed, and then as far as the water goes, we're proposing somewhere in this vicinity towards the front of the site. The other items that I want to review quickly is go over a full waiver request. Did anybody have any questions on the plan? This one. Okay, great. So we're asking for 4 different waivers. One is they're all stormwater related. So one is about regards to maximum loading ratios sent to the rain garden. We also are asking for relief on the minimum pipe size as well as minimum pipe cover. And then we're also asking for relief on the amount of freeboard inside the stormwater. If you'd like, I can name off each section and describe what that individual relief looks like and why we're requesting it. Doc has supported all the waivers here, but again, if you'd like me to, I can go through them.
Any comments from staff on those?
You said you had the letter from the conservation.
We didn't need one. So the ENS plan is baked into the storm. If you don't have any questions on the waiver, I'm going through the last. The board on some of the outstanding comments that we had. So all the waivers were given the thumbs up to be granted. We need to add the approval date to the plan.
Is this the June 24th?
It is, sir. The first general comment had to do with the property being assigned an address. We have that in hand now. The property has been assigned an address to 785 Hartman Station Road. The second general comment had to do with providing the approval letter from Lancaster Farmland Trust. We received that today and sent that over to the township. The third comment has to do with a deferral agreement. We requested to defer roadway improvements along Station Road, so we're waiting just on feedback now from the solicitor. There was a zoning comment here. The reason we had to take a timeout on the project and go in front of the zoning hearing board and get a few variances. Those variances were for allowing horses to graze within 10 feet of property lines, to allow a second horse to be on this property. The property needed to be 2 acres in size to allow a second horse. It's 1.86. We got a variance to allow the second horse for transportation. And then the third variance had to do with the barnuminium itself and actually having the barn structure attached to the house. So all three of those variances went in front of the board and were approved. And as part of that comment, we are providing the township with the manure management signed import agreement between Ben and his father for the management of manure generated from 2 horses. And the last comment, the only outstanding one that we really have is the letter of credit, and we anticipate having it in hand.
And so you're good with everything else in the letter? We did a conditional approval with the finalizing the operation and maintenance agreement, referral agreement. And the, but LLC, yeah. Other questions for the applicant? I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the number 2025-07 stormwater management plan for Fisher at 785 Hartman Station Road. That may be established address, conditional upon finalizing the operation and management agreement and the deferral agreement for curb and sidewalk and all others in the June 24 letter.
All right, motion by Mr. Thornton, second by Mr. Gallagher. Any comments or questions from the public or the applicant? That's there.
I'm sorry, did you say you acted on the waivers as well?
He indicated that it was based on the DMA review letter, which includes the waivers.
Recommendations of that letter. Yes. All right. We understand the motion. We have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? Motion passes. All right, next up, we've got item 9B, stormwater management plan for FedEx 1851 Fleming Road. Good evening.
My name is Jesse Coakley. I'm the engineer for the applicant, Colliers Engineering and Design. Site is located at 1851 Colonial Village Lane. It's just under 3 acres in size in the BP zoning district. It is an existing FedEx ground facility. And they're seeking to amend the operation to accommodate different types of deliveries. The applicant was previously before the board to obtain a waiver from the land development requirement, which was granted on the condition that we provide a stormwater management plan. So we've since been working on that, submitting some initial plans, got some review letters. And working with Scott to, address the majority of those. Essentially, the plan is allowing for this facility to receive a different type of delivery truck than what currently gets there, which requires the loading zone in the rear, which then requires truck servicing that are slightly different than what would go there today, as there's spaces in the rear, so we have to relocate those parking. Security fencing and things that would be a part of this application. Such triggers the need for a stormwater management plan. There's an existing stormwater basin in the rear of the property, which is also being impacted by some of the pavement expansion. Well, the new plan proposed is that stormwater basin to accommodate the stormwater from the site. I am in receipt of David Miller's most recent letter from this past Friday. We can comply with all the requests, but I think there are a few things that with further examination or a discussion from the board. Number one being modification, which is at the top of page 2. We did provide a letter, but I think it just needs to be signed by one of our geophysicists. I understand that Scott is okay with this modification request being granted, but it's to allow for the larger loading ratio. Currently, this site, I think, is operating at a 22-to-1 ratio. With the improvements we're proposing, I think it brings it down to 19 or 18-to-1. So an improvement over the existing condition, but not quite in compliance with that, based on the geotechnical testing that we've done out there, and we also have a specialist visit the site. We're confident Scott is recommending that that be a condition of the other two things in his letter that I just wanted to bring to the board's attention is our zoning comments 1 and 2. Number 1 involves the exceedance of the 120% of maximum parking requirements. Based on the breakdown of the site, I believe 22 parking spaces are required by the ordinance. Currently existing, the facility has 51. So it's already over that amount. With this reconfiguration, one of the goals also is at the front of the site, in addition to relocating some of the employee parking, as I mentioned, we're proposing to add 12 more spaces in the front for customer access to the shipping center that's in the front there, the shipping store, basically. So that it's an increase in 12 more spaces over the existing, from 51 spaces to 63. It is worth noting we do not trigger over an acre of disturbance. We're under that. So the MPD's permit is not required. Most of the improvements are contained within the existing disturbance limit or the existing curb limit site. It's really just finding some more creative places for these parking spaces, and that being the most logical one for additional customer parking in the front. And then the other comment is comment number 2. The drive aisle that goes on the eastern side of the property is undersized. It's not quite 24 feet wide. In order to get there, it would encroach into the side yard setback. We could manipulate the design a little bit to squeeze that back. But cleaner if we're allowed to go.
Require you to go to the zoning hearing board.
So I would like to try to tuck that back in and not do that. They need to lose a parking spot there, and to accommodate that. And there's something that Scott just picked up when we made the adjustment, and then he reviewed, he just caught it on Friday, so.
One the board can weigh in on and make that modification, but not.
You want commentary on that? Yeah, you want commentary on the extra parking?
Yeah, if you have any questions on
That
that?
was pretty much my general, overview of the project. I don't think I think they're all.
On the extra parking.
Here with someone come, if you've been using a site and you're like, hey, we need more.
Yes, I have tried to park there.
And I think this will improve the circulation.
Any other questions from the board or comments from staff?
You did have one comment about the operation and maintenance agreement. We had just included that as an appendix of our stormwater report, but we'll issue it as a standalone. It has to be fully executed as well.
Brian, with conditional approval based on the September 12th letter granting the modification subject to getting the experts letter and then approving the excess parking. Rest is based off the letter.
Yeah. That's a so move based on that motion you just made.
Sure.
Well, second.
So we have a motion, Mr. Meyer, second by Mr. Gallagher. Any comments from the public, comments from the board, questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those abstentions. Motion passes. Thank you very much. All right. Next up, we have subdivision plan for Lutheran Church, 750 Greenfield Road.
Good evening, Chris Vanarchik with RGS Associates. I'm here joined by Ken Hornbeck and Robin Stauffer. I'm representing High Foundation. We're here this evening to talk about the subdivision plan. As mentioned, it is 750 Greenfield Road. That is the address of the property. It's just west of Pitney Road, side of Greenfield Road. I'd like to just give a very brief background on the project and talk about the status of the plan review, how we'll see ourselves moving forward. The property that you see on the screen there is currently about a 5.9 acre site. It is, again, Greenfield Road. It is a business park zoning district. And what we're proposing to do is take that single lot that is there today and subdivide it, resulting in two lots. The Lutheran Church of the Good Shepherd is there today. They would be that create a big lot on the west side there. The larger lot, that would be about a 3.6 acre lot. And then the Lutheran Church would end up with about 2.3 acres. The purpose for this, if you're familiar with my foundation, and their goal is right now they're operating out the DLI Leadership Center. The goal is to make this their new home eventually, where they can continue to support the community and their charitable endeavors. So this is just step one. This is strictly a subdivision. They're not proposing any improvements as part of this plan. So no sewer water connection. They're serve the property. But again, this is nothing more than a lot. We do have a review dated August 26th. That letter, if you have any questions on that, we don't have any concerns addressing that letter. We also have the review letter from the county, which our resubmission of the project back to the township. We did address those two comments. One was about making sure that deed is created for the new parcels, and then one about shared access agreement for the. So when you're looking at the shaded area there is proposed shared parking easement area. The reason for that is when we're striking our subdivision line, you'd have some of that existing parking the new lot. So that's something we're going to set up. That's moving forward, we've come up with a separate land development plan. Again, there are some modifications associated with the plans. You can walk through it and
Any questions? I'll entertain a motion. If anyone wants to take a stab at it.
For conditional approval of the 16 subdivision plan for Lutheran Church, the Good Shepherd at 750 Greenfield Road. It's on the DMA letter of August 26th.
All right. Any questions, clarifications?
Just, I know with the parking lot here, the building plan. Same comment, in article. That, just for clarification, we're not proposing to alter the parking lot in any way, but the DMA letter does state that the existing lot is 125%. It does say something to be discussed with the supervisor, as well as we had requested a modification for parking recreation. And meaning that we're not proposing any improvements, we're not introducing these to the township that would require parking rec facilities. We didn't think it really applied, but we wanted to cover it in the modification, so I just wanted to make sure in case there were any questions about that, happy to answer those.
To land development.
Appreciate the clarification.
The tariff for parking, that's land development or?
Okay, that's existing. So with FedEx, they were changing it, they were adding to it, so they're increasing the percentage even higher than it currently is. This is a current condition on the site. Well,
Yeah, okay.
So I think we're good with the motion and the second. We're all clear? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed or abstentions? Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
thanks.
Next up, we've got item 9E, stormwater management plan for Iron Eagle Excavating, 709 Hartman Station Road. Is 709 or 705?
It actually has 3 addresses. If you recall, when you did the waiver of land development, it was to increase an additional address on the site for 3 different users. So the applicant has asked for a tabling of action on this plan for tonight, as they were not able to be here.
I make a motion to table 2025 plan for Iron Eagle Excavating at 709 Station.
Second. Motion by Mr. Meyer, second by Mr. Gallagher to the table. Any discussion, public comment? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
On the table. Item E, waiver of land development and stormwater management plan at 219 Whitmer Road.
Steve Gergley, Harbor Engineering. Here with Jeff Mylan, Jeff, Fairnow Contracting, 219 Whitmer Road, 1.2 acres. The Village General District. What Jeff's looking to do is do like a facade improvement on the front of this building. And in doing so, it's a small vestibule addition, which creates a little bit of additional impervious surface. So, asking for a couple of things. One, we're asking for a waiver of because the small issue is pretty. We also filed a stormwater management. Because it was so small, like less than 100 square feet of basically a small piece of the cattle, small area of cattle in the site to offset that to be addressed. So, the letter from the other way was very simple. Just questions that we did those comments. The only 2 modifications we're asking for related to stormwater are surveyed existing features. It's so small, and a geological investigation because we're not going to.
What's this one?
Clip to
Oh, let's click that. Yeah.
there, it's just
Everybody. That's good. Got 3 waivers and modifications we are granting. Entertain a motion if anyone's got.
Motion to approve the land development stormwater management plan for 2025-21. And the address is 219 Whitmer Road, subject to the David Miller letter dated September 9, 2025, subject to those conditions.
Second. All right, motion and second, any public comment or discussion? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed or abstentions? Motion passes. Thank you. All right. Item 10, we've got some supervisor discussion items. Which is not a whole lot of updates.
they're the false alarms at this point in time. We will have that discussion with the ESC. We are meeting on Thursday It's a regular meeting. Unfortunately, we couldn't meet the last 2 times we tried due to quorum.
No big updates on Park Foundation. I don't have any updates at this point either.
I did provide you with the organizational endowment sheet that the Lancaster Community Fund provided. Lisa Cleveland, the recreation director. This is a minimum contribution level of $10,000, and then there is approximately 1% fee to manage that, as well as we get to utilize 4% of that on a yearly basis as a different type of option for a park fund. However, still looking at other options.
More information, see what we can come up with. Any other discussion items? No. All right, item 11. We have a hearing, which will open for the ordinance to establish a business. So one thing we don't have at this point is we have been reaching out to people to sit on the authority board. We've got a lot of people interested, but we don't have firm commitments of, yes, put my name on the articles of incorporation approval part. So we've got, I would say, soft yeses. But it would be better at this point if we just not take action.
Take action. So the articles of incorporation need to be attached to the ordinance as you adopt the ordinance. And in those, you have to name the authority members and their address. As Ethan said, we don't have all of that. And so opening the hearing, closing the hearing, no action, and we'll re-advertise when we have hard yeses.
I make a motion to close the hearing.
Motion, second by Mr. Gallagher, any public comment? And so public comment would be, we're gonna do this again, once we get more guesses and addresses before we just put people on the authority. All right, all those in favor of closing the hearing, seeing public comment? Close your abstentions, the motion passes, so look for this again soon. Groundhog Day, but we'll have names and addresses at that point. Next, we have item 11B, approval of 2026 pension plan minimum monthly obligation calculations.
So for 2026 will be $532,858, and the uniform plan will be $202,186.
The first number?
532,858. You got the second one?
That's right.
So motion to approve this.
Yeah, we do both at the same time?
You can do the.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the 2026 pension plan and then the calculations for the police power plan and for township.
Motion by Mr. Meyer, second by Mr. Gallagher. Public comment or comment? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed or abstentions? Motion passes. Item 11C, reappointment of Scott Enterline as member of the zoning hearing board for the term ending November 12th, 2028.
So, for November 12th, 2028.
Motion by Mr. Meyer, second by Mr. Thornton. Public comment.
Thank you, Scott. Yes, representative of zoning hearing.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed or abstentions, motion passes. 11D, reappointment of Jim Glick, an alternate member of the zoning hearing board with the term ending October 2nd, 2027.
I'll make a motion to reappoint Jim Glick as an alternate member of the zoning hearing board, term ending October 2nd, 2027.
Mr. Gallagher, second by Mr. Thornton. Public comment. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed or abstentions, the motion passes. 11, reappointment of Alex Reedy as alternate zoning hearing board, term ending October 2nd, 2027.
To reappoint Alex Reedy, alternate member of the zoning hearing board, term ending October 2nd, 2027.
Second. Motion by Mr. Thorne, second by Mr. Meyer. Public comment. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed or abstentions, the motion passes. Item 11F, reappointment of Caleb Rinkelberg as an alternative member of the zoning hearing board, term ending October 2nd, 2027.
Motion to reappoint Caleb Ringelberg as October 2nd, 2027.
Second. First by Mr. Meyer, second by Mr. Gallagher. Public comment. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed or abstentions, the motion passes. Item 11G, request for Hand in Hand Fire Company to assist Strasburg Borough Annual Halloween Parade on October 30th.
So this and the next item are two items that were not listed on the workers' comp activities for the fire company. And so the board needs to approve those to allow Hand in Hand to participate.
You do both those at the same time?
I don't see why not.
You add G and H at the same time.
To approve our company's request to assist Strasburg Borough Annual Halloween Parade on October 30th. That was item B, and item H for same request from Hand in Hand to assist East Petersburg Community Day on Saturday, September 2025. If they added to our official activities under workman's comp.
Motion by Mr. Thornton, second by Mr. Gallagher. Public comment. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed or abstentions, motion passes. Item 11I, determine a meeting date for the budget workshop.
So in asking all of the township staff that would need to be present at this Monday, October 27th, Tuesday, October 28th, Wednesday, October 29th, or Thursday, October 30th would all be dates that would be available beginning at 2 p.m. That doesn't mean we have to begin at 2 p.m., just from 2 p.m. on.
Sometime October 27th, 28th.
27th, 28th, 29th, or 30th.
The 27th, 28th. Or 29th.
28, 29 work best for me.
28th is better. 28th is much better, actually. Sorry.
28 is good, 29 is good. Did you say 20?
28,
It's better.
29 is out.
Okay, 28th looks like a winner.
3 o'clock. 2 o'clock.
You tell me.
Can make 2 o'clock.
Earlier is better to me. 2, everyone?
2 is good.
Make 2.
2 o'clock, October 28th. Do we need a motion for that?
We will have such.
All right, item 12, managers report.
Indicated to you that we had the review of the PRP and we were moving forward with the revolving water fund. We actually got the final approvals for that plan and can move forward with implementing the ag BMPs within the urban area or just outside the urban area. Additionally, we can move forward with 93 Strasburg Pike, which is at the southern end of the Flory Park Bridge, starting all the way to the connection to Mill Creek. That'll be a stream bank restoration and reinforcement of the sewer line that's also in that area. That will result in about 73,000 pounds of sediment reduction. So happy that we're finally approved by DEP.
So are you reaching out to those homeowners?
Actually, those homeowners reached out to us a few years ago.
Well, I heard there was a house just for sale. Sort of buying a house right around. Well, oh no, that's actually.
If that's
Yeah, that's very close to you, 150.
all owners on board.
There's no houses for sale.
This is the sewer authority did the design and permitting, and all of the funds for construction come from funds, and the construction will be done through Lancaster County Construction District.
Humanity. You know, on to our final, anything pop up while we were talking, public comment, last chance.
Yes, sir. Just one quick question. I've enjoyed watching local governance at work. In regards to the Rockville Square project, my understanding is that they didn't do a traffic study. Instead, some money was exchanged, and I'm just wondering why not do the traffic study? I mean, is that a common practice to bargain like that with a developer? There's going to be a tremendous increase of traffic in the area with this project. Just wondering why didn't we do the traffic study?
We have some differing opinions up here, so I'll just speak for myself.
I voted for the traffic study.
So my perspective is on this one in specific, so their initial study came back with, there's not going to be an increase in traffic over what was over 10% over what was originally permitted for that area. There is a bit of where you get into some technical conflict between our reading of our zoning ordinance about whether a shopping and subdivision overlay requires a traffic study or whether it's part of a broader impact. Forget the technical language, which does. So we have two things that one sort of says you should have a traffic study, the other one says you don't have to have a traffic study. So there's some wording in there that the applicant was making an argument that they are not required to based off of their reading. Staff probably has a differing of opinion over their understanding of that ordinance as well. So this was one of, it isn't clear. And when it's not clear, that's when the board can weigh in. So we ended up sort of voting 3-2 to sort of say, hey, we'll waive the traffic study. We don't need one as a way to try to get the project moving forward.
Any idea what
an accurate summary?
I think it was an accurate summary, yeah.
Any idea what a traffic study would have cost? I think it was 20,000 that the developer paid out. Would a traffic study have costed significantly more than that? Or maybe you don't have any idea what?
I honestly wouldn't know what the traffic study would cost.
I mean, with the shopping center, so I used to keep my dry cows and bred heifers at 41896, and I ran by there every day for 20+ years. There was times when that shopping center was very busy, and there was times when it was dead, like over the winter months when tourism was out of the area. But that didn't generate that much traffic. And when I look at what's coming, I see 500+ apartments, figure maybe 2 cars per apartment. We're going to get 1,000 cars in that project. I mean, I think that the traffic is going to be like Rockville is already turning into, a highway. I think we're going to be seeing a major change.
If I recall some of the conversation, there was also, the board talked about how the Route 30 corridor has an adaptive light system. So it sees the traffic coming through the Route 30 corridor, and it can change the timing at which the lights change from green to red or red to green. And so that was part of the conversation. That's already in place. That's the highest type of traffic control for a traffic light system that we can get along that corridor. I know your concern is probably not the Route 30 corridor and more of the Rockville.
Your other question, I guess the answer is yes. Is it typically the practice that you're talking to a developer and doing some negotiating, and that answer is
that does take
it does good, because we're really trying to make the best of developed land already, especially that was a classic example of that. So we don't want new farmland taken. We really don't. If we have available land that's already been developed, well, then let's see what the need there is. We've gotten all kinds of studies and our particular study to show that there is a need for housing and for residents. But back to the point of the developer, that's what we have to do. We have to say, well, how much is too much and just enough? I always call it the Goldilocks decision. What's right just in the middle. because we understand anything we give up is taxpayers giving it up. And we have to be concerned about that. You know, if somebody were to develop that and then turn around and sell it right away, everything we gave them was in their pocket from our taxpayers. So that's what we want to be controlling,
Oh, yeah, I agree.
the best we can.
I feel like it's kind of important. I mean, this is an Alley area. It's a New Jersey developer coming in and building this. Certainly hope that East St. Peter Township doesn't like bend to their desire. I mean, isn't there also, they are concerned about the cost to upgrade the sewage.
The sewer is going to be their biggest cost, and
They will say, oh, we'll let you slide by.
that's not up to the board. That's the sewer authority, which has not done that. So they're applying, as part of our agreement, they're applying for state grants, trying to make that connection to make it happen. And that's sort of what they indicated in there, was if we can't get a grant to do this, project doesn't work if they have to bear the full cost of that, the sewer piece. The sewer piece is probably the biggest hurdle to cross. Of if we can get the sewer done.
And hopefully they've done a lot of their background research on that to go for those fundings. A sign of some confidence was that they have continued to the demolition, that they stopped for a while.
It seems silly. I mean, and this is a big project and they obviously have deep pockets, they have to, but to fuss about needing to upgrade the sewer, that
It's a lot of sewer upgrade. It's millions. It's a lot of capacity. And one of the other challenges is we have no state budget. It's almost the end of September, so no lobbying to get any grant funding can happen. So everyone's in a holding pattern and waiting on funds to be released. But yeah, we're months overdue on a state budget, which is also holding things up.
Thanks.
Thank you for your question. All right. Any other public comment? We held an executive session prior to this meeting for personnel related issue and real estate. Mr. Meyer, second by Mr. Thornton. Public comment. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. The Monday, October 6th. Same time.